Hey everyone, Mr. Toast here. Just want to let you know you can watch the podcast and interact with other viewers live on twitch.tv/convictedtoast. Enjoy the podcast. And everybody, welcome back to Mixed Media with Mr. Rager and Mr. Toast. Back with a little bit more Attack on Titan discussion tonight, talking about the final season, part 1. Also, we see you in the chat there, Sam. We delayed our start because Mike started dying at your comment.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
All
Oh
right.
man, this is a big one. Uh, Full disclosure, we watched 5 episodes after this just because we couldn't help ourselves. It's so good, and it's gonna be hard to refrain. But
Yeah,
we're gonna keep it to the
we
first 16 episodes.
we were gonna do it, but where we left off was a pretty big plot twist, and I kind of want to discuss it more after we've seen a little bit more of it.
Yeah, it's cute. You think you're gonna get more? Um,
Hey, you.
so basically, where this would end for us in season 4, part 1 is right after Above and Below, just for some context for the viewers out there, which is basically where Aaron and Peak are on the balcony area, and Aaron is like, "Show me where the enemy is," and Peak's like, "Right there," and it kind of ends right after that. So we got to start with Mappa before we get into the episodes. We got to talk about Mappa and the new intro. And pretty much, I mean, this is a completely different story than the first 3 seasons, so I
Oh
kinda
yeah.
want to address that to start off with. I mean, so how do you feel about Mappa's animation takeover?
So I do enjoy the animation a lot more. It makes it. I do believe that it makes it a lot easier for them to do the like multiple titans on screen doing a lot of very quick actions. Like, and it looks really clean, especially in the first episode that we get to see it, because we get to see Reiner as the armored titan fighting a group of guys, and literally like it looks so clean.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan of the Mappa animation, to be honest with you. I really like the takeover, and in that first episode, which we'll talk to a little bit more in depth, is so season 3 ends with an episode called The Other Side of the Wall. And season 4 opens with an episode called The Other Side of the Sea,
Yeah.
where we get a 4-year time skip, and the perspective we start out with is not Aaron and his group, the scouts. It's nobody in Parody, which we learned at the end of last season was the name of the island that they've been on this whole time. We are now at Marley, and we see Marley engaged in this war against the Mideast allied forces. So they're fighting the Middle East, and we see kind of how they use Titans in battle. My one of my favorite scenes in the entire series is from this battle. How we kick it off, and it's where um, you have uh, fucking Zeke. I couldn't remember his name. You have Zeke up on this giant zeppelin,
Yep.
and all of the Titans are dropping down, and he like clears the story. He's like, and then he just screams, and you see them all shift in midair as they hit the ground, like literally kinetic bombardment with Titan bodies.
Yeah.
It's awesome, so cool.
Forgot my Hawaiian shirt. Be right back.
It is Hawaiian shirt o'clock.
Yep. Um.
For our audio listeners, love you to death. We are wearing Hawaiian shirts for this episode for no
Yeah.
reason other than we wanted to wear Hawaiian shirts for this episode.
Yeah. So if you have one and you're available to go get one and put it on, I suggest doing so.
Yeah, just get in with the spirit, man. Join us.
Yeah.
Join the Hawaiian Shirt Club.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost Halloween, so we got to celebrate the last drop of summer.
It's it's like the Andrew Tate Club, except it's not a scam and fun.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and people just make
so
fun of you for your fashion choices.
exactly. So our first couple episodes, we get this view into Marley, and you start to kind of understand the dynamics that they have here. Very, very. We talked about this a little bit at the end of season 3, but there are a lot of Holocaust vibes in
Yeah,
it, and that's a weird thing to say, and it felt weird coming out of my mouth just now. I promise you, if you've seen the show, you know exactly what I mean. They literally have armbands. They separate them. They're treated as an entirely
Yeah.
different race. The only
They
difference is
literally refer
okay,
to them as devils.
yeah, devils and less sexist than Neanderthals. Yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah.
of course. Hawaiian shirt men are very respectful. Um, so there is an exception to this rule, as we find out in Midnight Train, a family of Eldians who we're gonna okay. Before I say that, you're gonna be hearing us referring to a lot of things differently now that we have technical names for things.
Yes.
Eldians or anyone with the power to transform into Titans. Parody is where most of the first three seasons of the series take place. Any other weird terms? The coordinate. I guess we could talk about the coordinate a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not a whole lot because that kind of leads into part two.
Yeah, but they do talk about the
Yeah,
coordinate a
it's
lot.
mentioned. The first time it's mentioned is in season two.
Yes. So, we know about the coordinate. Um, we know Aaron is the coordinate according to Zeke and Reiner.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of terms that are going to be thrown around. But I digress. Back to my original point. We get to see the Tiber noble family, and the Tiber family has the only other Titan besides the founder that we've only heard about at this point, not to be seen on screen. That being the Warhammer Titan,
Yes.
and they are a group of Eldians themselves. However, they have a lot of influence as they kind of wrote history in Marley. They fabricated a hero that, the hero in the myths and legends defeated the Eldians and made King Fritz do his vow against war, which we had talked about in the season 3 podcast, that he had made this vow that basically anybody that has the founding titan, that has royal blood, cannot use its power to its potential because of this vow against violence and this vow against war, which will bring into our major plot point that we're going to get into in a few episodes.
Yeah.
Um, so we get these couple episodes, and it's mainly focused on Marley for a while. We get to see a lot of Zeke and Reiner. I love how they showcase Reiner's PTSD, and he's talking to his family, and it's just a really nice detail. So basically, he's sorry, Sloppy Butcher's chat really distracted me. Mike, your super suit is out behind you. Yeah, that's for tomorrow. I got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
We were talking about Reiner talking about like his PTSD, like his time
Yeah,
on the island.
yes, and I really like the detail because he goes into this and he's like trying to come up with problems for each of these people.
Yeah,
And
so I really like it because they're kind of like they're talking. It's like, what was your time like on the island with like the devils and everything like? And he struggles to really even say anything actually bad about any of them.
exactly, he's like, there's a girl that ate a potato, you know.
Yeah, and he's like, so when the when our like instructor caught her, she decided to offer half, and then she split it in half, and it wasn't even close to actually being half.
Yeah, this whole like he goes through this whole thing just to try and, you know,
Kind of
make these people
justify
sound a
and
lot
make
worse. Yeah.
them sound bad.
So, um, we get a big flashback in episode 3. We kind of the first 2 episodes really are just establishing a lot of new characters. We get Gabi, we get Falco and Peak and Galliard. We get to see a lot of new characters and what they do in Marley and kind of get to understand their backstory a little bit. And then we get this backstory episode where Commander Magath sent Ani, Bertolt, and Marcel and Reiner on a mission to reclaim the founding Titan. And we get to really see um, Marcel get devoured by Ymir,
Yeah,
and we get to see how Ani encountered Kenny, which is really cool. Um, and Reiner kind of like deciding to destroy Wall Rose, and Reiner's suicide attempt in that episode in the present, and you're just like, oh my god, this poor guy, and like he killed all these people, but you're like, man, he was just a soldier. It's the fucking water gets so muddied
yeah.
in this part.
because up until this point, we've only seen the people on the island. We've only seen their experience and how like terrible it's been with all the Titans attacking, and having this revelation come about with like we're on an island. There's people across an ocean that hate us essentially, and we getting to see the other side of it, seeing like how these people live, what's going on their end. And it's so crazy because at the end of the day they're both just people trying to live about their lives, and they're being like brainwashed essentially by the Marlians, that like the Eldians are devils. They're like everything that's happening to them is deserved, even though you look at what's actually happening on the island, and they just want peace. They want to be free.
Yeah, uh, it's so complicated. I love the theme for this season, My War. It fits really well.
Yeah.
So we kind of get a little bit of a glimpse into Falco, and Falco wants to become the candidate for the Armored Titan. That way, Gabi does not have to inherit it.
Yeah, because he wants her to live a full long life instead of having it cut short.
Exactly.
Which I
He
don't know
doesn't
if
want.
we've mentioned that or not, but anybody that inherits a Titan only lives for 13 years. Is that right?
Yes, they only live for 13 years, and they have to pass it on, or else it'll go to a random Eldian.
Yeah.
So then we get to see a dude. He's hanging out outside of this hospital, and he admits to Falco that he's been faking his trauma-induced amnesia. He's like, "Oh, I don't really want to go back home," and his name is Kruger.
Yeah.
And Falco's like talking to him, and he's like, "Hey, can you mail these letters for me?" And Falco's like, "Yeah, sure, Mr. Kruger, sure thing." And then we get to see Mr. Jaeger, who is Grisha's father. He comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, could you stop talking to Falco?" And he like completely breaks down because of Faye's death. Faye was Grisha's wife, and it's revealed that Kruger is Aaron. 4 years
Yeah.
later, he's got long hair. He's removed both of his legs to make himself look like he's
Like a war
or is it
veteran.
one of the, yeah, like a war veteran.
Yeah, it's his
And then we
left leg.
left leg, that's what it is. And then we get a post credits scene where Falco takes Reiner to a basement beyond the stage where Aaron is there, and he's like, "Aaron, it's been 4 years." And then we get the next episode, which Willie is planning this huge theatrical thing he wants to do. Um, he is talking about this hero that the fucking Tiber family made up, Helos, and he admits to everybody, the first honest politician in world history, that they made it up,
Yeah.
and that it was in fact King Fritz who was the hero, and put that in quotations,
Yeah,
but
because
King,
there's no real heroes or villains here.
no, that made the vow to no war, and he said it, and King Fritz said that if anybody would attack the wall, they would release the rumbling. And turns out that that's not even true. It's more of a deterrent because the founding titan by itself can't release the rumbling. So it was a complete fabrication because of that myth,
Yeah.
uh, or sorry, that vow. They can't do that.
Yeah.
So the Jaw and the Warcart Titan are Peak and Porco are sent down a trapdoor by this Marleyan soldier who we will get the name of later, and Willie's announcing that there's a major uprising going on in Parody. The founding titan's been stolen by Eren, and they have to go and get it. And as he's talking to that, we cut back, and Eren is talking to Reiner and Falco, and he explains that he kind of realized through his time there that Parody and Marley are pretty alike,
Yeah.
in that both sides are just people. Um, and then he looks at Reiner and he's like, you know, we're we're the same. And
Hmm.
Reiner's like, "Yeah, if you came here to do what you said you're going to do years ago, which Aaron vowed to kill him, and like make him suffer in the worst possible way. He's like, just do it. And Aaron just kind of like, oh, I guess I said something like that.
Yeah.
Weird. Weird how kids are.
Yeah. The
And go ahead.
I want to address what Sam's saying here in chat. Um that's what's compelling about the characters of AOT. Everyone is complicated, and neither hero nor villain, not all good and not all bad. It makes the characters feel more real in a way, and I 100% agree with that. I think it was towards the last couple episodes that we watched, Mike and I were like talking about how we love a story where it's not just here's the bad guys, here's the good guys, this is like how it unfolds. We're talking about how like you can make a story where like you don't have a hero or a villain, they both have their own perspective, and you know, you kind of decide who you think is right.
Who do you think the enemy is?
Yeah.
Um, so Aaron is having this discussion. Reiner's just kind of breaking down. He's like, "You just kill me," and Aaron transforms into the Attack Titan, bursts out of the basement just as Willie is declaring war, and grabs Willie Tiber, throws him up into the air. We cut to black. We open on the Warhammer Titan, and there's a flash. That's the next episode, the Warhammer Titan. And there's this little bit of a flashback where Willie is talking to Commander McGath, and they're like, "We're probably gonna get attacked here." And he's like, "Yeah, probably." And um, it's revealed that Willie Tiber, who was believed to be the holder of the Warhammer, was not the holder of the Warhammer.
Yep.
It was in fact his sister, Laura Tiber. Um, and this is one of the coolest fights in anime history. The Warhammer Titan is in the middle of transforming, and Aaron just fucking sucker punches it right in the face and just starts beating it. Like you get all these anime fights where you wait for the other person to just power up,
Goku, why are
and
you
then
still
you
screaming?
yeah, they're sitting there standing there, and Freeze is getting his final form, and Goku's still powering up. Attack on Titan, they waste no fucking time at all. Aaron just starts absolutely pummeling the shit out of him, or out of her, sorry, and oh, it's such a good fight. It is such a good fight.
Just a quick moment here. Thank you, Sloppy Butcher, for the tier 1 sub gifted to Sam. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. It was
That
awesome.
that is very helpful. Helps keep us going, so appreciate you.
So they have this big fight, um, and it's the Warhammer's about to kill Aaron, and Mikasa arrives and attacks the Warhammer's nape with thunder spears. It's not very effective, but you see the damage that Aaron has caused by doing this. He's killed hundreds of people, and they're like, Mikasa's like, Aaron, what did you do? And he's like, I'm either gonna die here or I'm gonna get the Warhammer Titan here, and there is no in between.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out how to kill this fucking thing, and he realizes the nape is under the stage.
Yeah.
It's connected by this long white cord.
Yeah, we see it running
And
down the right leg of the Warhammer Titan, and it's like going underground.
yes, and then he breaks the Jaw Titan's fucking jaw joint, and he puts the Warhammer Titan's fucking crystallized form in there and just squeezes down until it breaks through it, and he drinks it and gets the power of yet another Titan. Now Aaron is holding three. He has the Founder, the Attack, and the Warhammer, and the full assault on Marley begins. The Survey Corps are there. There's a shit ton of them. Levi's there. A character that we didn't get to see a lot of until then, and he becomes really big this season. Uh, fuck, what's his name? I was just hyping him up so much and I forgot his name.
Which character you're referring to?
The only one that survived Ervin's attack.
Oh,
Locke.
yeah.
Locke.
There you go.
And we get to see him and the new scouts. So the Titans are all there. Zeke appears, and basically they're all kind of distracted, and they're like, don't worry, we planned for this attack. Over on the Navy, We got 3 boats coming in with 300,000 men, and they're gonna be here, and they're gonna help us with this fight. And little do we know, Armin is in a little dinghy,
Yep.
and he transforms into the Colossal Titan and wipes out nearly 300,000 people in an instant.
Yeah. And we get this fantastic scene right after where we see him walking as the Colossal Titan, and then we see, you know, the nape open up. He stands out and he says, "Is this what it looked like, Bertolt?"
You know, when Bertolt crashed into the wall, and it really is. It's literally just like paralleling their attack. When Reiner and Bertolt attacked, they wiped out hundreds of thousands of members of Parody, and now they're attacking Marley and wiping out hundreds of thousands of Marleyans.
Yeah.
And so Levi goes, and it seems like he defeated the Beast. He goes through it, and the Beast is just nothing left.
Yeah.
They managed to disable the other 2 Titans. Reiner's kind of trapped under there, but they're Gabi and Falco are like, Reiner, we need you to fight. So he like emerges, and it's a very brief battle, probably the quickest battle between Reiner and Eren in the series. He absolutely just fucks Reiner up so bad.
Yeah.
Reiner was so injured he couldn't transform fully, and Eren just fucks him up so bad. And then we get Keegan's favorite episode. No, I'm kidding. We get one of the hardest episodes of the series with Assassin's Bullet.
And it only gets harder as the season goes on.
Yeah, this one's a rough one. I want to say that I do not advocate for harassing voice actors for decisions made in writing.
Yeah.
I want to say that because a lot of people went after Gabby's voice actress in both the dub and the sub.
Yeah.
For a scene that plays out in Assassin's Bullet, which I think is a really good scene, personally, and I like the death, but a lot of people
it's something to address. Is like whenever a writer you know, makes a decision to, you know, like anytime a writer makes a decision, if you even target the actor or the voice actor that goes over it, don't, like, there's no reason to do that. Don't attack them. Don't do anything like that.
And that goes for anything. That goes for The Last of Us. Just don't be a shitty fucking person. If you don't like the writing decision, you don't like the writing decision, and don't even go after the writers. It's their story. You want to write it, go get a job and write it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you having some
they're
camera issues
telling the
there?
story. Yeah,
Okay.
be back on now.
There we go.
There it goes.
Sorry about that.
No, it's good. So basically, Levi and Hanji arrest Eren,
Yeah.
like on the spot. They're like, "You motherfucker, why did you do that?" And it's revealed this whole plan was Eren's, but not just Eren's. We'll get a reveal in a minute. So Gabby sneaks aboard the airship with a sniper rifle, and she fatally shoots Sasha, killing her. And God, do they beat the fuck out of Gabi and Falco.
Oh, yeah.
And then Armin and them come out and they're like, "What are you doing? They're just kids. They're
Yeah.
literally children." And the door swings open and you see Eren, and next to Eren, right over on the other side, is Zeke.
Yep. With all of
And
his limbs removed.
yeah, we get this really funny moment that kind of breaks the tension where Levi comes up to him and he's like calling him hairball and shit and giving him this death glare because he fucking hates the Beast,
Yeah.
as we discussed in season 3.
We also get it's an iconic line at this point from Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke looks at him, he goes, "Hey, Levi, don't glare at me like that. What if I piss my pants?" Such a good line.
Yeah.
And good.
It's bleeding into, like, with Sasha and everything, like we have the discussion going on with Zeke and Eren and everything, and then when they finally come up and they're like, Sasha's been hit, and like they're like, "My God, what's going on?" And when they're finally like, she's not gonna make it, like she's gone, we get this scene where this is the part where you've been watching and you're like, Eren's different, something's different. And then in this moment, after they tell him that Sasha's dead, he laughs to himself. And that's the moment when you're like, something's not right, to you're like, okay, something's really off.
Why do you think he laughed? Because I have a theory on this.
I honestly, I don't know. I think maybe it was shock. I don't know.
I think it was a combination. I don't think there was any ill intent behind
No,
it.
I don't think so either.
I think it was a combination of shock and just like the utter disbelief that he lost one of his core people that he's
Yeah,
been friends with since the start, and he's just kind of laughing at it, especially because her last word was meat.
yeah, yeah. But like,
And
did she have any last words? And who is it that says it? Is it
Connie,
Connie? Connie's like, she said meat.
yeah. And Aaron starts laughing. I think it's a shock thing, and I think it's also just the absurdity of it.
Yeah,
And to them, like I get being upset, but they killed like 500,000 people and they lost like 4 in that entire battle. They
yeah,
lost like no one.
yeah,
It was a huge attack. So we find out that it was both Zeke and Aaron's plan together, and that a bunch of the people they have a Zeppelin that they escape in. We didn't mention that,
yeah,
and they got it from Yelena and Onion Capone. And Yelena is the girl that pushed um, the Jaw and Cart Titan down into a well. And it's revealed that there are a bunch of Marlians helping them because, in order to use the Founding Titan, Zeke and Aaron need to connect
yeah.
together and they need to touch.
Because Zeke has
So,
the royal blood where Aaron does not, but Aaron
yes,
still controls the founding titan.
yes. Um, so Brave Volunteers kind of reveals the next 2 episodes. I don't know how much we can even really. There's not much to talk about. It's just kind of this
Yeah. So
flashback.
we get the huge opening with like the attack on Marley and everything. And then from here it's a bit of a slow burn until we get into part 2.
Yes. So there's a couple episodes where we kind of just get to see why these people are helping them, um, and like how it started, and we get to see Pix's Commander Pix's relationship with the volunteers. Armin's talking to a crystallized Ani, um, and he's talking that about like how I didn't have a choice and neither did you. Gabby and Falco are imprisoned. Uh, Aaron kind of like cleans himself up a little bit.
Yeah,
He
because
tells
he
Hanji,
had a little stubble going on, like a little mustache and like goatee combo.
we get this other moment that you were talking about with Aaron kind of changing when he's talking to Hanji,
Yeah.
where he threatens her. And he's like, you know, I have the Warhammer now. I could just do anything I want and get the hell out of this cell.
Hmm.
Like, I'm choosing to let you keep me. I'm choosing that. Which, in a couple episodes, we learn why he was staying captive.
Yeah.
So, oh, were you gonna say something?
No, I yawned, but I do also want to mention, since we were talking about that, like before Hanji shows up and like he threatens her, like he's staring in the mirror, just repeating to himself, "Fight, fight," and then Hanji's just looking at him. She's like, "You're talking to yourself in the mirror. You're just saying fight, fight over again. What's going on with that?"
Yeah, she's like, you're sitting there going, Tatakai, Tatakai.
Hmm.
What's up with that? Like, you talk to yourself? So basically, a lot of Aaron's friends are kind of losing faith in him at this point. They're like, he's kind of lost all sympathy and humanity here. Armin is talking with Mikasa. He's like, we need to get Aaron with me and you. We need to talk to him about this. A lot of people in the military are talking about having Aaron eaten by someone more trustworthy.
Yeah.
And we get the next episode, Deceiver, where Gabby kills the prison guard and escapes with Falco into the wilderness. They are taken back in with Kaya, who, as we talked about in season 2, she was the girl that watched her mother's arm get eaten, and well, watched her mom get eaten
Yeah.
entirely,
It was
and
her
she was,
leg,
oh,
but
yeah,
she
her
was still
leg,
being
whatever.
eaten alive the entire
Yes,
time.
yes, and she was taken in by Sasha's family, And then they take Gabi in too, Gaba and Falco. And they are like, let's go to this dinner. It's run by a Marleyan. They can help you, escape. Um, and then we get this post-credit scene where the Marleyan military is kind of like, hey, Zeke faked his death. And Magath is like, okay, in 6 months' time, we're going to launch a global offensive against Parody. And Reiner's like, I know the fuck we aren't. He's like, I know Zeke. They expect a 6-month thing. We need to attack now.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we open into guides, which Armin is still kind of seems like he has some types of feelings for Ani in a way, which is interesting. He's spending a lot of time around her, and he didn't start doing that until he received Bertolt's Titan. So it's
Right.
kind of interesting, just kind of how that kind of thing happens.
Yeah.
Um, so Mikasa and Armin go to the Premier Zachary, and this is where things start to heat up again.
Oh yeah.
Zachary's like, no, I'm pretty sure Eren is fucking around. I don't want you to talk to him right now. He's being manipulated by Zeke. They leave his office, and a fucking bomb goes off and
Yep.
kills Premier Zachary. And we see all these protesters and all this political turmoil happening, which was Eren's plan. By remaining captured, he got an army of loyal followers, which the military designates Jaegerists. And Falco, Jesus, Flock and the other allies break him out.
Yep.
He's seen with them. He's like, "Where's Zeke?" Um, so we kind of see where Zeke's at. He's in the woods with Levi. He's kind of chilling out there. And the Browse family, along with Gabi and Falco, they go to the restaurant where the Marlene works. Niccolo, who was a man that is revealed to have been in love with Sasha, she kind of inspired him to become a chef. And we get to see that Peak is already in the walls, and the attack is about to begin.
Right.
Um,
And it's up to this point, like it's so like we get that slow burn, and then like you said, like as soon as like you see the group of scouts go into Zachary's office, and then just a explosion goes off, you're like, okay, we're back in this, something's going on.
yep.
And
And we get
then
this. Oh, good.
and then like the announcement, like, hey, Aaron's not in the cell anymore, he's gone. And we get this scene where we just see him walking up the hill, and it's like, oh, he's by himself. Then he gets to the top, and you see all of the people that are supporting him, and it's just, oh no.
Yep. So then we get this scene at the beginning of the next episode of Zeke kind of explaining to Levi how it worked, that he used the spinal fluid, his own spinal fluid, in a gaseous form. He said it paralyzed him. He turned him into Titans, which we find out it was a lie. They keep foreshadowing this bottle of wine,
Yeah,
and it's
we
revealed in the
keep seeing people just drinking this wine, and we don't really get any context to it, but like it's something kind of subtle to start with, where you see them pouring the wine and drinking and everything, and it just goes about it. It doesn't draw any attention.
yes. So we there's this incident that happens at the restaurant when it's revealed that uh, Gabi's the one that killed Sasha, and Niccolo wants to kill him. He gives the knife to Mr. Browse. Mr. Browse is like, we can't kill her. Like that's not how this works. It kind of calms everybody down, except for Kaya, who, as we had spoken about just a few minutes ago, her mother was saved by Sasha, or her mother wasn't saved by Sasha. Her mother was avenged by Sasha, and she wants to kill Gabi. They're furious, and Niccolo breaks the tension. He's like, "Listen, you need to rinse Falco's mouth out. He got wine in it. It's tainted with Zeke's spinal fluid." And he's like, "The wine came from Yelena's scout ship. It was served to all of the high government officials in Parody."
Yep.
Um, Levi gets word of Zachary's death, and he's kind of like, "Man, what the fuck?" The Jaegers then raid the restaurant and hold everyone at gunpoint. Flock is demanding Zeke's location from Hanji, and Flock, we get this huge reveal that Flock knew that the wine was tainted and
Yeah.
was served to government officials. and it's fucked.
Oh yeah.
Um, Eren comes in where Mikasa, Armin, and Gabby are in this room, and he shows his hand, and he's got a cut on it showing he can transform whenever he wants.
Yeah.
And
We
he's like, "Hey
also
guys."
just a quick moment, like, because it has this great line where Gabby's like talking about how she's like sitting at the table and she's like, "You don't want to kill me, like, even though I killed your friend, whatever." And Armin's like, "Kill this, kill that. You sound just like somebody else I know." And right after he says that, that's when you see Eren walk in with the cut on his
Yep.
hand.
Yep. Um, Eren kind of like tells them, "I'm acting on my own free will. Each Titan is affected by the memories of its previous owner." He's like, "You're being manipulated by Bertolt's memories." And then he tells Mikasa, "You're literally being manipulated by your Ackerman bloodline. You literally can't do anything of your own free will. You're no more than a slave. I hate you." And Armin attacks him, and Mikasa literally fucking stops him. And you're like, "Oh my god, she literally has no choice in that."
Yeah.
Um, and then they get into a fight, and Aaron's like, "Do you know why we never fought Armin? Because that fight wouldn't be fair," and just beats the fucking shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hanji is taken to Shinganshina by the Jaegerists, and that's where Aaron had planned to rejoin Zeke. Um, Levi plans to have Zeke eaten by a Jaegerist to prevent Aaron from using the Founding Titan. Um, Zeke just fucking takes off running from the camp and screams. And we see all of the people in the forest, all of the men that Levi had brought with him, turn into Titans. And it was revealed that they drank the wine.
Yep.
Um,
It's also, it's a bit of like a comedic moment for half a second, because we
when
see
he's
like
running away.
Levi's like thinking, and he's like thinking to himself, and then he turns around and he's like, "I'm gonna take care of this now." He turns around, you just see Zeke just running away really slow.
And then we get to see a really fucked moment. Flock is like recruiting new scouts, and he tells them, "Beat the shit out of Commandant Keith Sades, who is the guy that trained them at the beginning." And of course they do. He's like, "Out with the old and with the new."
Yep.
And Zeke's heavily injured, and he has a thunder spear impaled in his stomach, tied to a detonator around his neck. And we get this flashback episode with Zeke, which, oh my god, it makes him very sympathetic. This episode is incredible. Um, it's just Zeke living in Marley and having like nobody in his life that loves him or respects him. His Grisha and his mother just want him to be the downfall of Marley, and his grandparents just want him to be the pride of Marley, and he really has no one to lean on. He's just by himself until he meets the then current owner of the Beast Titan. Um, it's fucked, and
Yeah.
he's like, the guy's name is Xaver, and Xaver tells Zeke, he's like, "Listen, you're gonna die because your family is restorationists.
Yeah.
They're gonna kill you. Like if they find that out, you need to turn them in, and I'll offer my beast to you." And they have this heart to heart before that, and um, Zeke says, "I wish I was never born at all." And that's where Zeke wants the founding Titan so he can euthanize all Eldians and end their suffering that way. And that way, their suffering would end within 100 years because there would be none of them left, and
Yeah.
no Eldians would be born again. There would be no more suffering by Eldian people because they just wouldn't exist. And then he wants Eren to do a small scale rumbling just on Marley. Um, really great moment when Zeke inherits the Beast Titan. We see when he hooks up with Reiner and Bertolt on Parody, he learns that Eren Jaeger possessed the founder. He's like, "Jaeger?" He's like, "It's Grisha." And he's like, "I need to rescue him." And he has this like deep love for Eren
Yeah.
as a brother. And Eren's like, "Oh yeah, euthanization sounds great." Um, and the episode ends with Zeke just igniting the Thunder Spear, and him and Levi are both caught in the explosion.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the last episode of this part, Above and Below. This one is just a really big build-up episode. Zeke is gravely injured. He's like recovering. Levi is also gravely injured. Yelena and the volunteers have Pixis and other military members rounded up, and they tie these bands on them for which ones are going to turn into Titans and which ones are willing to help them. So Yelena explains to Armin, Mikasa, and the rest that the plan is for a widespread sterilization, and they're like, "What? Would Eren really go with that?" And then they will use the rumbling to prevent interference from other nations. Eren meets Gabi, and he's like, "You're gonna cooperate with me." And Peak is there as well, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll join the Jaegerists. Like,
Yeah,
I'll fight
she's
with
like,
you
I
guys."
don't have any choice. You got me. Hands are tied.
Yep. And then Peak's ruse is revealed almost instantly. The Jaw Titan comes out, almost eats Eren. He transforms into the Attack Titan. There's Marleyan airships flying overhead. Peak is like, the real enemy is right there. And Magath orders his men to get revenge for Liberio, and Eren prepares to face Reiner again. And that is where we end off on Season 4, Part 1.
Yeah, and it's a huge, like, twist for us to end off on, or not really a twist, but big cliffhanger. And that cliffhanger only gets bigger.
Yeah, the next few episodes are insane.
Because like it was like a bit of a slow build, and then we got a little bit more here, and here, and then we finally get to the point where it's like enemies right there, pointing right at them, and then we like everything just starts to go off, and it's like after this episode, once you get into part 2, it is wild.
Yeah, part 2 is really good stuff. So is part 1. Part 1 is a great build up for what's to come next. So Keegan, what are your thoughts on season 4, part 1?
Overall, it's very solid. I don't think it quite breaks the second half of season 3 for me, but it is very good. Like especially like the way that we started, I love the way it starts. And like I said, it does slow down a little bit there in the middle, but it's all for build up, which we are seeing the payoff of now in part 2, as we've watched a couple episodes.
Yeah. Well, so I gotta ask, what would you give it out of 10?
Probably a 9.
9.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
I think my whole rating for the show overall will be like a 9, like an 8 to a 10 in that range. We'll see, but like as it's stacking up each season, it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, when we get through the other episodes in season 4 part 2 and the final chapters itself, I feel like it'll teeter more towards a 10. There are some really, really, really awesome stuff.
It's absolutely wild though, because it's been every single like every single episode or each season, it keeps building and building, but we finally get to the point where, after the end of season 3, there are no more mysteries. We have like all of the reasons why everything happens in this world and exists is explained, and now we just get to see it develop from there.
Kind of.
To a degree, yeah. There's a few questions.
A couple more questions that get fully resolved in part 2.
Yeah.
And after the first few episodes of part 2, they are fully resolved.
Yep.
All right. I figured this episode was going to be a little shorter, but I mean, just shy of 50 minutes. That's not too bad.
Yeah, we're about 44 and a half minutes, maybe.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about for season 4, part 1?
Trying to think if there's anything we may have missed, but I'm coming up pretty much blank in the moment, so.
Yeah, I think we covered. This is the most like in depth I think we've gotten with one of the seasons.
Yeah, I think it's because we shortened ourselves a little bit. We've had a chance to really talk about it. Like season 1, part 1, we did lesser, like fewer episodes, but we still like that's just the introduction to all these characters, the plot, everything. Here we've got a lot of stuff explained, and we get to talk in a lot more in depth with it. Whereas like with the last couple we were doing like entirety of this season part two, like the but here we were able to slow down a little bit and really talk about some hard hitting stuff for the show.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. We have another episode coming out Sunday.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure what the topic is going to be for that, but we'll have it figured out by Sunday.
Yeah, are we still kind of 50-50 on the topic there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
So we'll see what comes up.
Oh no, we do have a topic.
Okay.
It's our first Halloween one because it's
Okay.
October 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do a Halloween related thing.
Gotcha. So we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for a Halloween episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, we got to figure out what we're gonna do for our first Halloween episode. I think that's about it for this one.
Yep. So let's go ahead and wrap it up here, I guess. So if you haven't already, join the Discord. It's where the schedule's posted. Sometimes I get it wrong because I didn't post that we were doing a podcast on Sunday this time. Anyway, but yeah, join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter. That's where I post everything. Follow the YouTube channel if you don't already. Subscribe. Like and comment on there if that's where you're listening. Let us know what you thought of the podcast. Give us your opinion. We want to hear from you. So give us some feedback. Download on Spotify. We've been seeing a little bit of download content on Spotify, and we appreciate seeing that. Especially quick call out to the 2 people in England and the 1 guy in Belgium. We see you guys.
Yes. If you're still listening, we love you. Keep listening. We saw that on our Spotify statistics.
Yep. But that is pretty much all we got for you. I haven't decided yet or not. I'm gonna edit this episode and have it ready to post before I go to bed. I might stream after that. We'll see.
Very cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one for our first Halloween episode. Halloween's my favorite time of year. These podcasts through October are going to be great. And that's about it. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody. We love you.